All right, good morning, guys. Today's video is about being entrepreneurial and how I feel about it at 25. I think being entrepreneurial is something that you are born with. I don't think that it is something that most people are taught, although I'm not saying it can't be. I'm saying most of the times it isn't. I can remember going back to when I was like 13 years old, and I started my first job at a local pizza shop down the road. And I can tell you how I got it was probably a bit different than most. So when I was like 9-10 years old, I used to go around and knock on doors and do some snow shoveling for people. And I had a few, like, I guess you could say, different clients. And I would always go and hit their driveways, and over the years you start getting a little bit more efficient with it. And if you really enjoy making money like that, you know, you're going to continue knocking, trying to find more places to do this at. So I went to the local pizza shop down my road, and I saw that the sidewalks were not cleared off yet, and I asked them if they wanted me to clear their walks. And to my surprise, they said, yeah, we'll give you a try. Now, they've seen me come in there for many years at this point. So they agreed and allowed me to go ahead and shovel their sidewalks. And I did. And they told me, you did a great job. Next time you're around in the area and it snows, come back. So I did. And it was history ever since. Every time that there was a snow emergency or a 2-hour delay, I'd be there first thing in the morning because I knew he had a business. And honestly, he was a great guy. And this brings me up to my next point, is that being entrepreneurial also takes luck and finding the right people. You know, it's not just about what work that you're willing to put in, but what people are willing to put into you, right? It also depends on the kind of work that you're trying to do. Now, I know this is a little off topic of what entrepreneurship really is, but this is just the start. You know, before I did snow shoveling and things like that, I was also making these things called paracord bracelets. They're survival bracelets, and I used to go to the Hobby Lobby, and I would get all different kinds of paracord and, you know, different clips and things like that, and I would walk around my neighborhood, and I would take measurements of people's wrists, and I would ask them what colors they wanted. You know, I had a whole binder set up of different kind of like keychains, you know, and you know, I made a couple $1,000s selling bracelets at $5 a piece. I've knocked on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of doors, you know, taking measurements. And honestly, the reason I knew that entrepreneurship was for me was because it never felt like work. It just felt like something I should be doing. You know, the one thing that I think nobody talks about being entrepreneurship is like, I feel that I'm a bad employee. And not in the sense that you guys might be thinking. I feel like I'm a bad employee because I'm not fair to myself. You know, when I'm working 9 to 5, I kind of get down on myself. I tell myself I should be doing something for myself or on my own. And the truth is, it's a lot harder to get to that point. Every job that I've ever had, I've excelled in. I worked at UPS for a couple years. I was a part-time supervisor there, and I did very well. The problem was getting to full-time was going to be something that was pretty hard, and people were waiting years to do so. I was an assistant service manager of 548 apartments, and, you know, what I found out was being management and being in that corporate American setting is just not what I want to do. And I have nothing against anybody that wants to do that. Again, entrepreneurship is not for everybody. And that's okay. Not everybody can be an entrepreneur. And honestly, some people that may want to be, maybe don't. And I'm not saying by any means I'm an entrepreneur. What I'm saying is I have the characteristics, and that is something that I do want to go for. I am aware of the risks. And I think for me, the risk of failure is less than the risk of staying mediocre. I'm not saying not being an entrepreneur is being mediocre. I'm saying for me, for my lifestyle, I've always felt like I've been different. The way I look at things is just different than I think other people, right? You know, where somebody sees a struggle, I see opportunity. Where somebody sees risk, I see reward. sometimes you can get burned with that mindset of thinking, but it's the type of thinking that cannot be taught. You know, you ever see somebody and you say, oh, that person's a natural, they got it. You see this, they got the personality for this, they're doing everything they can, they're hustling, they're grinding. You know, those people deserve to be, you know, owners of a business, and they are. And you look at some people who have a business, and you ask yourself, how did they even get there, you know? Because it's more than just intelligence, it's more than just personality, it's everything combined. Right now, this is how I'm feeling about entrepreneurship at 25. I think it's something I definitely would like to pursue, and I'd be interested to hear from any of you guys down below, if you are entrepreneurs, what your journey looked like. I'd love to hear from you, and any advice you can give to somebody who is, you know, trying to do this life. It'd be very well appreciated. I thank you. One last thing. Don't let anybody ever tell you that you can't do something. Truthfully, because if somebody in this world has achieved it, you can probably achieve it yourself too. It's about being around the right people. It's about being around the people that want to see you succeed. It's about people that are succeeding and willing to try new things. I'm out here recording in my local neighborhood, and honestly, kind of feels a bit awkward, but I'm willing to try it. So this is just a different change of pace for me, and honestly, I'm kind of excited to be a little different from the usual. So thank you guys. Have a great day.